Run, run for your freedom. Gotta run, run for your freedom.
Just a short summer break and you start singing again.
I forgot everything I was told before the break. Hey and welcome back to another video of reviewing new around the water films. It's great to be back after the summer break.
It is.
It was a bit of a longer break because Sebastian was on vacation, I was on vacation, I was on some projects. So we just literally didn't have the time to meet up here in the studio and produce more of these review videos. But I'm really happy to be back again and to watch the next one in line of our submitted videos.
Definitely. But first of all, we're a long break. So I heard you get a new iPhone.
I did. Yes.
How is it?
I got the iPhone 16 Pro Max just a little while ago. I'm very happy with it actually. I'm loving I'm not going to talk about the specs of the phone per se, but the camera wise, obviously, I love the 4K 120 that the iPhone now has. That really gives you some nice extra slow motion features in there. And the new 84 megapixel wide angle camera, that's actually really good. I'm definitely seeing a difference between that wide angle camera and the wide angle camera on the 15 Pro Max, like the previous model. So I'm really happy with it. I used it on my recent project, on my production shoot that I had in Egypt for the iFork, and got some first-hand experience with it.
Yeah, that would have been my first question. How is it working with the new iPhone and the diaphragm housings?
It is actually working. The thing is, because it is slightly bigger than the previous models, Apple has increased the size a little bit. It's still, physically, it still fits into the original diaphragm C-Touch 4 Max, but you just got to make sure that there is no lens protection on there. There is no screen protector on there. It will fit in there, but, and this is important, diaphragm themselves, they don't recommend to use the old C-Touch 4 Max housing because it just doesn't have enough leeway, and there is a realistic risk that the phone will stay or will be stuck inside the housing and you will have to break the housing to get the phone out again. The housing is not made for a phone of that size really. It will physically fit, but it's very tight, and that's why the iPhone doesn't recommend to use the iPhone 16 Pro Max inside their original housings.
So what I'm gonna do?
Switch another housing? No, of course not. No. Let me see. I'll have to pull this out. Oh, we didn't plan this well. Let me see if I can pull this out without breaking everything. Well, you know what? Hold this. Hold this.
Of course, I'm the lovely assistant.
Well, you kind of are, aren't you? And then I'll just pull out this. Just break everything. All right, because what we have now is, and it looks exactly like the diaphragm C-Touch 4 Max, but it's the new diaphragm C-Touch 4 Max Plus. It's the new version. The regular original version doesn't even exist anymore. They're not producing that anymore. This one is the replacement. It has the exact same dimensions. The only difference is that it's a tiny bit thicker on that lens part here, and that actually enables the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max models to comfortably fit inside this housing and have the same sort of reliability, the same functions, everything like on the original housing with previous iPhone models. So this is what iPhone recommends, what diaphragm recommends to use with the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max models.
Your iPhone doesn't recommend it as well. It doesn't want to stay permanently in the diaphragm housing.
Probably too, you're right. So the C-Touch 4 Max Plus in the black standard color is already available. I'll place a link down in the video description below if you want to go and check it out. It's from what I know, it's the same price as the original housing. Everything is pretty much the same, as I said, with the difference that it is actually made so it can accommodate the Pro models of the iPhone 16 series as well. There's going to be new colors as well. There's gonna be a pink and a silver color for the iPhone, for the C-Touch 4 Max Plus housing. They will be released in about a month's time, so they are not available yet, but this one is already available on the Diefog website, as I said, link down in the video description below. And a big shout out and thank you to Diefog for being the sponsor of this series and of course today's review video as well.
Cool. So can I use the discount code on that one?
Of course you can. You can use the discount code on that one. And this obviously also works with any other smartphones as well. So like if you have an iPhone 15 Pro Max, if you have an iPhone 14, whatever you have, you can obviously still use it, but it is just future-proof now, so it can work with slightly larger phones
just
as
use
well.
my existing inlets and...
Yes, you can do that. Yeah. Well, they actually, you will get new inlets when you order this one. You just tell them what phone you're using, and then you get new inlets for the 4 Max Plus series of the housings. Exactly.
All right.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, let's see. So let's put this aside again. Somewhere where it's not in. Well, let's just put it down here.
Getting it all out of the way.
Out of the way for the important part of today's video.
Today we're here because of Jonathan.
Ooh.
And Jonathan from North Carolina sent us a video from the Maldives.
Yeah.
And he was diving with his, well, at the beginning with his girlfriend.
What do you mean at the beginning with his girlfriend?
Well, he told us they got engaged on the third dive during a shark. No, on the second dive during a shark dive. So pretty cool, I guess.
Not bad. I like it.
He wrote a lot of more stuff about the vacation. I think it was not the most pleasant one. They got some trouble and all that stuff going on. Maybe you can elaborate on that in the comments function. Let us know.
Okay.
So all in all, not everything was working fine equipment-wise, but he told us he was using a Nikon W300 with Orca torch lights. Then he used the GoPro 8 on the last dive, the red filter. So I'm guessing at the beginning he wasn't using red filters.
Okay.
And then he was using a Sony RX 100. Is it a 5? I'm not sure. But he was using a Sony RX 100 in a Seafrog housing and Kraken wide angle lens. So yeah, pretty much stuff in the water.
Nice.
Let's see what he did, what he could do with all that stuff.
Yeah, let's have a look at Jonathan's creation here, and let's go. End of the World as the music title. I don't know how fitting that was, but I enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for sending in this submission. And as it is short enough and has enough underwater footage in there, it qualifies for our big competition of this year.
It does, it does.
So you're going into the competition, which we will be judging all the entries at the end of the year, or the beginning of next year, I better say, and announce the lucky winner who will come with us on our trip to the Maldives, on our underwater video workshop in April 2025. By the way, we are just working out an add-on package there. So in addition to being on Dangeti Island and doing the 1 week workshop there, after we finish with the workshop, we'll take whoever wants from the group and we'll go down to the very south of the Maldives to Formula, and we'll be diving with the local tiger sharks there. So another good reason, if you haven't looked at that trip yet and you would like to join us, it will be linked down in the video description below, so go and check it out. This is definitely a once in a lifetime or a very special occasional moment for me to go and dive with the tiger sharks, and I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. So back to Jonathan's video. Thoughts?
Well, let's start at the beginning. I think the intro was nice, like getting us into the scene. I like the music. I mean, it's not a perfect fit, but it was not too dramatic. It was good, a good choice.
Yeah.
And he used the cut on the beats pretty nice on that music.
Yeah.
I like that. And I think there was overall good framing. It's like he tried to get the subjects in the frame where they need to be. Sometimes it didn't work out, but most of the time it was good framing.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree to what you say. I also think that he added some dramatic to the shots by using a lot of like the mix in between stationary shots and moving shots. I mean, mostly it was the subject was moving, but nevertheless it was not just a stationary image we saw. It was stationary shots and moving shots. That kind of play in between those two seemed to work quite nicely for me. I think there was a good mixture of the two different types of shots that way. Also, I thought that you used different points of view or angles in the different shots. So at some point we saw a shot from top down, or sort of top down. We saw shots from the bottom up to the surface, sort of horizon shots or horizontal shots. So yeah, that seemed to work quite well for me. When we look at the stuff that I think you could work on, Jonathan, then there's a couple of things that I've written down that I'd like to pass on to you. The first thing that popped up in my mind that I saw was, I think, a stabilizing issue. I think that quite a few of the shots, and I think it was already the third shot or so, where I think it was the pufferfish right at the beginning, where you could see, obviously with the fins moving, the stabilizing software just couldn't work it out. It thought that you were just moving way more than what you were, and you can see some warping in the shots there, and it was consistent throughout the video. There was quite a few shots where you could see that warping on. It's mostly closer medium shots that happens. So maybe try to work a little on that intensity of the stabilizer that you apply, or maybe try even not to apply a stabilizer at all to these shots. A very good option to help you with stabilizing is also if you're recording higher frame rates. Then you can just slow it down in post, and that will already help stabilize the footage and sort of smooth out those little wiggles and stuff by itself without having to apply too much post-production stabilizer in there.
Yeah, and just from the beginning, like, get more stable footage. I think that's the origin. Would be nice, because like at the end we got these shark shots.
Yeah.
Well, what a word, shark shots.
Shark shots.
And for my taste, it was, even with the music, it was a little bit too hectic. And there you can see like the camera movement, especially with the GoPro. it's very easy to move it around, and you already they get a lot of movement on your footage right from the beginning, so it's even harder for the software to stabilize.
I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, please.
Then another thing that I noticed, Jonathan, is the consistency when we talk about saturation and colors. And I think this has a lot to do with you using different cameras to film underwater. And we've talked about this many times here within this series in the past, that it is something very challenging, even for us. It's something very challenging if we use very different cameras to film on the same project. Trying to merge all that footage together and make it look nice is not an easy thing to do. And I would urge everyone not to do that, not to use a variety of different cameras, because it just makes your life a lot harder in post-production. But if you have to, for whatever reason, then try to spend a little extra time on trying to match the colors and the exposure, the saturation of your images in post a little better. There is a tutorial that I made about this topic a long while ago, actually. I'll link it down in the video description below, so you can go and check it out, how this is easily done. Especially, I always find if you can match the background color, the blue color, to one another, from one image to another one, when it comes to saturation, as well as the tone of the color, that is actually a really good way to match the clips to one another, giving the whole piece kind of a uniform look.
Well, yeah. Given the fact that you weren't using any red filter because of like some luggage trouble, yeah, fair enough. It's harder, but I think the overall saturation and contrast problem doesn't have anything to do with the red filter in the end, because you can still match them in terms of what you said. It's not only the red filter missing. It's more like the overall image.
Yeah, I agree. And then, I mean, in the end, if you go that way, that you use several different cameras to film underwater, my approach would always be to use the weakest camera in terms of its performance, and use that as your benchmark, and match all other clips to that camera, so that because let me explain this. If you have like a cinema camera, and at the same time you use like a very cheap action cam that just records very flat images and stuff, and that doesn't have a lot of color and stuff, you would probably, if you really want to use the footage that you've taken with that cheap camera, you will probably try to match the cinema camera footage to that camera, so the uniform look of the entire piece is there. Otherwise, the clips that you merge into the entire project of the cheap camera into the clips of the expensive camera, they're just going to stand out a lot.
So what Matthias is basically saying, he takes a $50,000 camera underwater and takes hours to look at like crap to match his inexpensive camera. Yeah, I understand.
Well, to each their own, right? To each their own.
But yeah, got your point.
got my point. Thank you. I hope you got it as well, Jonathan. Anything else?
No, we talked about the red filter and the shark, the shark shots at the end. Just a little bit too hectic. I would. Right, the video is like roughly 3 minutes, or a little bit longer than 3 minutes. And I think there are the 1 or 2 shots, maybe 3, where I could just cut out.
Yeah.
Just because like the framing is not right. It's a little bit too much movement. You don't get the colors right. It could be different reasons, but just leave them out. And I think it's better, because especially with 3 minutes, like at the end, if you're at 2:45, 2:40. It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
Well, it makes a difference, because it looks nicer at the end. The product at the end, it looks nicer.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Anything else from your side?
Nope.
I have one more thing, and that's regarding the music. I think the music is a little too loud, Jonathan. I think it could have been dialed down a little bit, because when we were watching it here, I had to dial it down to about half the volume to comfortably watch it. If we had put the volume all the way up, or even just a little bit higher, it would have the music would have just peaked. It would have been uncomfortably loud. I think that's something that you can also try to remember on your next edit, to watch the audio levels, and try to keep them sort of at around -6 dB, I would say. It's kind of where I try to peak my my music and my audio levels, so that they don't go close to that 0 where they peak and get distorted and all that sort of stuff. So that's just a little extra tip there, but that's the last thing also for me that I've written down here.
I have nothing more to add.
Excellent. Then I would like to pass it right on to you.
Oh, wow.
To sum up today's video and our feedback for Jonathan.
All right. Yeah, Jonathan, thank you very much for your submission. As we said at the beginning, we liked the intro, we liked the music, the cut on the beat, and the overall framing was very nice and very pleasant. We think you could work, no, not we, you could work on
maybe we too.
The stabilization. We could definitely work on that too. From the filming part right at the beginning, as well as in the post-production, when you're using the stabilization tools of your editing software, just fine-tune a little bit more, make sure it doesn't get this wobbling effect. Then Matthias mentioned that you have to have a closer look at the matching of the individual shots in terms of contrast and saturation. That's especially important if you're working with different cameras. And as well, at the end, Matthias mentioned, please check your volume of your music or general of your audio. Depending on the software you're working on, you can do it by hand, just level it or adjust it to be at the end of the output at -6 dB, or there are different software, there are tools to do that automatically to level it out and have a nice output at the end. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jonathan. Also, a big thank you to you, Jonathan, for subscribing as a member here to the channel and supporting the channel this way. We really appreciate that support a lot. If anyone else out there, if you feel like the content that we're producing and putting out on this channel here is beneficial, useful to you, you're getting something out of it, and you want to help us keep continuing with producing that content here for you, then a subscription or a membership here on the channel is highly appreciated. There is a little button right below the video which says become a member. If you click on that, it takes you through the process. If you want to do that, very much appreciated. Yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video.
There's one more thing, Jonathan.
Please.
You told us you got engaged on a shark dive, and we have no proof. So maybe in the comments.
Well, I don't think you can add photos to the comments on YouTube, but in any case, we want to congratulate you for getting engaged. We wish you all the best for your future married life, and yeah, if you can send us any way of any proof in any way, then please do.
And we go back to our married lives.
Yeah, thank you again, Jonathan, for submitting your video. As we said, it's going to go into the competition. And yeah, for everyone else, if you want to see any of the previous video submissions that we had here on the channel, they will be linked down in the video description as well. We are back now next week again with the next episode of reviewing your underwater films, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing that next submission and discussing it with you, my friend.
Me too.
See,
me too.
We need a little bit of distance, and then a business partnership becomes friendship.
And it's working. Yeah.
Close. Okay, yeah. Close.
See you next week, guys.
See you next week, guys. Have a great week. Don't forget to keep capturing your awesome underwater adventures.